Hello, my name is Tyler Stenson. I'm a singer-songwriter from Nashville, Tennessee and Portland, Oregon. And I'm more or less making this video to promote my new album. It's called Bittersweet Parade, and I released it January 1st of 2010. Very proud of it in total. There's that inside cover there. But I wanted to make this video to talk about each song and what went into it and kind of the backstory. So hopefully you can enjoy it a bit more in the end. Track number 2 is called The Road, and it's actually based off the novel by Cormac McCarthy called The Road, which will be a movie pretty soon with Viggo Mortensen and whatnot. But if you've read it or if you haven't read it, it's a pretty bleak and gray, dismal book. A fantastic read all around, but I remember closing the book just feeling very heavy at the time, and since much of my music is very bleak and heavy, I thought a sweetness needed to come out of it. And so the book is about a father and a son who are walking through kind of a post-apocalyptic world, and really long story short, the book says that they're each other's world entire. Essentially, they're all that each other has. And so it's a very sweet book about this tenderness and this relationship between the father and son. But as the book goes on, it just gets very heavy, and it seems very hopeless at times. And so, again, when I finished the book, I closed it, and I felt a little hopeless. And so I wanted to walk away from the book with only remembering kind of the sweetness of the book. So I wrote this song called The Road, and what it is, it's about a lover. I suppose if I had one person to walk down the road with, it's about that person. So it references having an empty hand, and but all I'd give to have your hand on my way down the road. And so some of my favorite lines in it are, never once did the distance daunt a rambling man. That line came to me one night, and I just remember being very excited about that. It's somewhat Bob Dylan inspired. He uses the word rambling a couple times, so I liked the idea of never once did the distance daunt a rambling man, so I'll lead with my boot heels, followed by an empty hand. Boot heels also comes from, I believe, Mr. Tambourine Man. So that line is very Dylan-esque, by no means copying, but definitely paying homage to that. I remember being stuck on this song, trying to write it and trying to make it sweet and trying to make it catchy, but trying also to not make it too cliche, because it had a real easy, it could have gone that way easily. And so I wrote most of this actually on a road trip from Portland to Utah when I was going to play some shows in the Salt Lake area. And I remember driving through the snow, kind of white-knuckled and not listening to the radio, but just trying to work this song through. And that's when that first verse came to me. Never once did the distance daunt a rambling man. It seemed fitting for being on a road trip at the time. So there's that first verse, and then the other part, I suppose, that there's a line that was written pretty much the night before the recording was made. The second verse originally said, you can rest your lovely eyes because you found that in me, and when you wake, we'll head out for the beautiful sunset. And to me, the when you wake part seemed like it had been done before, and so I was fighting, and it took me weeks, if not months, to try to figure out that line. And when it came time to do the recording, it was crunch time, and I remember sitting down and being like, okay, I need to write that line. And so when you're listening to the song, it now says, I'm forgetting it now, but it now says, and you can rest your lovely eyes because you found that in me, and my heart is on my sleeve and pinned in that sunset. Because I think it looks like you, pretty pink and violet. And so the whole line about my heart being on my sleeve and pinned in that sunset was written very last second. It was the last line ever written in that song. The song had been played and performed for months and months and months before that line ever came to be. And so it's track number 2. It's got some banjo. It's got kind of a bit more of a hand percussion rather than a drum kit, and then it's got some really sweet organ in it, performed by Scott Fisher. And so I hope you enjoy it. It's called The Road. It's the single off of the album, and again, it's a very sweet song about that I dedicate to Cormac McCarthy and his novel The Road. So enjoy.